Hi friends, welcome to the channel, and we're going to be doing a crazy challenge today and going over basically the next 6 months. So there is this challenge online. It is called the hardest reading challenge you've ever heard of, or you've ever done before. I keep getting that name messed up, but I will have that link down below. And the creator came up with this bingo board where when you look at it at first, you're like, okay, 25 prompts seems very reasonable. But then you realize that each one of these squares basically has up to 10 sub books that you must read for it. And this challenge is intensely hard. And I really I feel incredibly motivated to try and do it. We are starting later. Originally this started in July, runs until end of June this year. So we're going to be trying to complete this in half the time. I have not calculated how many books there are, but I feel like it could be like up to 250 books that we need to read for this challenge. This is going to be insane. This is going to test every bit of my willpower and patience and just ability to read, my ability to do anything. But I can't wait. I am a very challenge oriented reader, so we're ready. This is going to be very difficult, but hopefully very fun. So today we are starting with square one, which is by the hundreds. And for this, we have to read 7 books. So we need to read 1 book corresponding for each level of the hundreds. So a book between 100 and 199 pages, between 200 and 299, 300, 399, 400, 499, 500, 599, 600, 699, and 770, 799. So we need to read 1 book for each of these. And isn't it great that we're starting off with something slightly easier, because all we need to find is page lengths. And the first 3 to 4 books will be quick, hopefully anything under 450 pages will be relatively quick for me to read. So that is what we're doing today. We are going through the books from 100 to 700 pages and trying to hit all of these prompts in this video. So we are going to start with the 100 page length, and tentatively I am starting with Graveyard Shift by Emma Rio. I think this is 136 pages. We're gonna start there, and I'm gonna come in when I have some updates. Honestly, I'm hoping I can read this all tonight. I think I can, and then maybe we can have something checked off of this really quickly. So thank you for clicking on this video. Welcome to the channel. Would love if you guys would consider subscribing, and hopefully you are as excited as I am for this chaos of a challenge. Let's go. Many updates to bring you. So first off, the book that we did for 100 to 199 pages, Graveyard Shift, it is done. I think this was only actually 104 pages, which made it even quicker. So when I was like, oh, I think I'll finish it tonight, I read it in an hour. It really was not anything that difficult. It really just a quick novella, and it didn't really do too much for me. I find it's kind of hard for me to find a novella that's super impactful. There are some for sure, but they're kind of few and far between, and I'm definitely noticing that, unfortunately. This one, there's a group of students. I think they're all students at this local university. They tend to meet at this graveyard, and then we're following this mystery about a hospital/research area and a potential danger that comes forward with. It was fine. Again, it just didn't do enough for me, and I think it could have been better if it was more expanded upon. It's also really hard for shorter books to really get into the characters, make them very distinct personalities, and that I was struggling with. So overall, it's a 3-star. I don't think it's terrible. It just didn't I don't know. It could have done more. It could have done more had it been longer, as the issue tends to be with novellas. And now we have started our book for the 200s. And I decided to go with a sequel to a book that I recently read. And this is called Mind of My Mind by Octavia E. Butler. And this is one of the weirdest series I read from her. I do think like if you've read Lilith's Brood, you kind of like, like that was one of my first books I read from her, and that was weird as hell. This is somehow weirder, and that one was about like exogenesis alongside like the development of a new race with aliens. This one is super, super weird. I think it is 240 pages, so it does fit within our 200 page to 299 pages. And I'm going to try to very, very briefly describe this series without getting into too many spoilers for book one, but also we follow distinct characters in this one, so, you know, there's not too many things I can spoil. But at the same time, this series and concept really fucking weird. So it's one that like, I don't think I could recommend it to anybody, but book one was 5 stars for me. But yeah, I really don't think I would recommend this to anybody to actually check out. But book one, we were following a woman who, actually it took place from like across 200 years, from like the 1600s to the 1800s. We are following a woman from Africa who basically has this mutation within her where she can heal any part of her body and has like basically a mortal life. And she comes across a man who kind of in his own right is a god, and he's been alive for thousands of years, but he has this ability where he can like basically grab onto a body and take that over. So he's constantly like dropping the body he's in, taking over the consciousness of another, and always moving around. But at the same time, he also, because he's been around for thousands of years, has had a lot of time to witness people with special abilities coming to place, like our woman who can heal and basically like morph her body into whatever she'd like. So he has kind of started, I don't even know how to describe, a breeding program almost, where he started communities of people with these abilities and his descendants, and he is basically trying to craft them into his master race and just perform these breeding experiments on people to see if he can like combine genes in a certain way to get the most powerful individual. It is really weird. It is truly like, would not recommend this to anybody really, unless you've read a lot of Octavia E. Butler and kind of know her vibe, or you're just like really, really into weird sci-fi. Would not recommend it, but I thought it was fantastic. Hated so many of the characters, hated so many of the things that were discussed, but I also loved it and was so incredibly intrigued by so many things that were happening. So that was book one, and now we're in book two, which takes place a couple of 100 years after book one, and we are following a very, very powerful telepath and her basically coming into her powers and learning more about the telepathic world. So we'll kind of keep it right there. I'm about halfway through right now, and it's interesting. I don't know if it's going to quite be the same level as book one for me, but at the same time, I'm intensely intrigued, and I kind of like really, really want to see where this one goes. I'm curious. I'm sure going to be super weird, and I like that. I like that a lot. But because it's only 200 pages, we should be able to get through this one pretty quickly, I hope. And then we'll, keep making progress. I'm hoping to get through like all of these first couple books really, really quickly. And then I'm devoting way more time to obviously like 600, 700 page books. But we're going to hopefully make some progress on this one very quickly. Okay, I am done by Mind of My Mind, which is our 200s book. And I'm giving this 5 stars. It's really, really hard to explain, and I don't even know if I should try, but basically it's just about telepaths creating their own kind of world. And again, like, this is weird. I really don't know how many people I would recommend this series to. It is very, very strange, but I love Octavia Butler and just eat up everything that I've ever read from her. And I've been really trying to make an effort to like space out her works, which I'm not doing. I've read the first 2 in this series back to back, and I'm probably going to keep doing it with the rest of them. But yeah, I love her. She does weird sci-fi like no one else, and they're so good. So we're done that. We are done the second book, and now we are on to the 300s. So books between 300 and 399 pages. And the one I decided to do for this is The Correspondent. It's 300 and something pages. I'll get the exact number somewhere on here. So I'm starting on The Correspondent, and I've heard a lot of really good things about this one. I've heard a lot of really good things about this one. It's a recent-ish release, so it came out in 2025, and I know I've seen a lot of people like really rate this highly. It also has like a crazy high rating on Goodreads. I think it's like a 4.4 average rating. But we're basically following a retired woman. I think she's in her 70s, late 60s, 70s. And basically we are following the novel through letters that she writes to people. So the primary like passion in her life is just writing people letters and receiving them. And we're just following her and her life through all these messages that she sends to people. It's interesting. It is, I always like a book in letter form. I find it's always like, it can always be an interesting storytelling device, and I always appreciate that. So I'm enjoying that fact. And the character just has someone who's had a very interesting life, and we're getting snippets of it here and there. She used to be a lawyer. She was then the clerk to the like chief judge of her area, and just a lot of really interesting things have happened in her past, and we're just getting snippets of it and snippets of the relationship she has with everyone around her. She has a strained relationship with her children, like she's not super close. She writes letters to her best friend constantly, but her best friend's married to her ex-husband's brother, and that's created a weird dynamic. And she has potential relationships with her neighbors. Like, it's a lot of interesting things, and I'm really enjoying it. It's an interesting storytelling method, and I always like get really into that and appreciate it quite a bit. So this one off to a pretty promising start as well. Book done. We are now done The Correspondent, and we're now past, I mean, this is our 300 pages book. And like, I knew the first 3 at least were going to be very quick reads. Thankfully they were. And this one felt especially fast as well because of the formatting of the words, the formatting of the book, being in letter form and email form. A lot of it, like, it doesn't take up a full page a lot of the time. So a lot of those are like fairly quick to get through. And I find any book that's kind of written in this type of format, they do tend to be very quick reads. Also because it's only letters, it's only emails, they're only like 1 to 2 pages each usually. So I find books with like quick chapters like that, because I kind of viewed them as chapters in my head, make it go very quickly. But I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was a really interesting exploration into the life of this woman, and I think we followed her over about 10 years of her life and the correspondence that she had been sending out, and the friends that she made, the relationships that she was going through, the relationships she had, the like falling out with, and then trying to become closer and all of those things with different family members. And it was really good. It was really interesting. We saw a good like retrospective at her career as well, where she was really heavily involved with this law firm and then became a clerk for like the town judge, county judge, something like that. And we saw just really interesting things that ended up interesting ways that ended up impacting the rest of her life. So really good. I'm giving it 4 stars. I don't know. I think if I had been in a different point in my life, I think if I was somebody who was older or retired perhaps, reading this, I think it would have emotionally impacted me in a much different way, instead of me in my 30s who's still, you know, like, I feel like basically starting off my life. So I'm not really doing that retrospective of this was my career and the impact I made. So maybe this is one like in 20 years, rereading it, it might have like a crazy different impact. But I give it 4 stars. And it's interesting too because, well, not interesting, but this is very highly rated. I think it has like a 4.5 on Goodreads, and yeah, just really highly rated. So, you know, a lot of people this is really resonating with, and I definitely think it was great. So overall, yeah, I'm really happy with how that one went. Another really enjoyable read. I don't read a ton of contemporary fiction, and that is something that I'm really drastically trying to get myself to continue or improve / do more of this year, because I find a lot of them they've been hitting differently lately. I'm really into broadening my reading horizons, so I'm always happy when I do that. Yeah, this was a hit. Now I'm gonna go figure out what book I want to read for the 400s, and I'll come back with some updates. You know Apparently, part of this video, what we're doing is alternative ways of writing, alternative non-traditional storytelling methods. because I am now picking up a choose your own adventure book, which I have very distinct memories of reading these in elementary school and absolutely loving them. But as an adult, I cannot think of a single book that falls within this choose your own adventure that I've read. But anyways, I'm deeply, deeply loving this. So the book I picked up, it's All This and More by Peng Shepherd, who's an author I've read from before and really enjoyed. That book was The Cartographers, and it was to do with like magic and maps. And that one I know was like not necessarily the most popular. Not as many people enjoyed it. I really, really did. And this is why I think this author could potentially be someone for me, also from how I'm currently feeling, is just like, well, not everyone's cup of tea. Seems to be mine so far. So this world has, there's so many questionable things about the logic behind this, but I don't even care. They've come up with this new physics creation where basically they can create these alternative bubble parallel realities, and they're apparently very small in focus in that they can only really make like minor changes to our current reality, and it's not enough that they could go in and like say stop World War II from happening or wildly change things, like anything that would change the course of history. But what they can do is make changes to a singular person's life. And so you can kind of see these decisions that come out of like, what if instead of going to university, I had pursued my dreams of being an artist? And what if instead of marrying this one guy, we'd broken up and I went on to date someone else instead? So you can see like in real time what your reality would be if these decisions had been made and how it would impact everything around you. So for some weird reason, the creators of this technology basically decided to turn it into a reality TV show where people are able to see there's like one person from the world selected, and viewers are able to then see them go through all of these like mundane decisions, not necessarily mundane, but just these decisions to see like what, again, if I had done this one thing, would my life be better than it is today? And viewers get to see everything and like really follow this person along on all of the decisions they've made throughout their life. And we are following Marsh. She is the new star of this show, the new focus of the new season. And she's a single mother. She and her husband had broken up a few years before because she caught him cheating on her. In the past, she was training to be a lawyer, but ended up dropping out of law school because she got pregnant and decided to stay home with the baby and support her husband's career. She has recently started dating someone, but they broke up because she accidentally said her ex-husband's name in bed. And like, just there's many things that are not going quite as well for her. So she's brought into the show and given the opportunity to, let's see what kind of, like, if these different decisions you made, how would your life show up? If you had not quit law school, where would your life be? If you had done something to fix your marriage before your husband cheated, what would your life be? If you hadn't said your ex-husband's name in bed, what would your life be? And we're following along on all of these decisions. But also at the end of like every section, we're kind of given the choice of like, do we want to see right now? Let's go into the past to see if she went to law school. What would her life be? Or do we want to fix her current relationship? So you get to choose which reality you're following. And from there, you like make the different choices. You get to like jump to different things and see like all of these choices and this like spiral down of like making this one choice, which leads to this and this. And it is so cool. It is so much fun. This is like, you know, just like such a different concept in a book. It's blowing my mind. It's blowing my mind. I know it's nothing new. I know this has been done before, but I haven't seen it done in like an adult novel in such a long time. And I am having an amazing time with it. The only issue I'll say with this is that because we are like jumping around like crazy, I have no idea where I am in the book. I have no idea like how far I actually am in. You can kind of look at the index and be like, okay, I've read this many of the choices, but then at the same time, like you don't really know if that does anything or if like you're gonna read all of them or if you're gonna only read a portion. But this is so much fun. I'm just really deeply enjoying it because it so easily could have been just like a standard novel where you're following, it's like, okay, Marsh makes this decision and we go on. But just having that little extra aspect of like, you're like, okay, no, this is what I want. I want to follow this story. It's so fun. It's so exciting. And yeah, I'm loving this. I'm sure I mentioned, but this is for our 400 pages line, but yeah, it's I think 460 pages, but I'm not entirely sure like how much of that is actually going to be read, which I'm still going to count this towards it because the novel itself is that many. And when I'm done, maybe I'll go back and see like if there's other realities that we didn't explore that I'm curious about. But this is so cool. This is so much fun. Okay. Oh, before we do an update, I wanted to quickly share. So I got some new scents in from Pacifica. So we have the Vanilla Whip Hydrating Body Mist, and they sent these over and said, I think they're exclusive to Walmart, but also this is $10. And then we have 2 little perfumes that are $15. Cute, very cute. I love an affordable fragrance moment. So we have Vanilla Whip and Sugared Apricot. This one, I don't love Sugared Apricot. I think that it smells a lot like, if you've ever smelled pink sugar, and I don't know who it's by, but if you've ever smelled that, this is what it smells like. I think it's too young for me. Otherwise, like it's a cute, like, soft scent, or very, very gourmand, but very sugary. It's cute. It's just like, I think too young for me. And then Vanilla Whip, I think that this is a good like basic vanilla. Like it's definitely, I'd say vanilla with a little like whipped cream in there, which I like. I love vanilla scents. So this isn't really one that, this is one that I like. I do like this for sure. So yeah, check these out if you want a nice little affordable fragrance moment. I get so excited at something that's actually decently priced. Very rare these days. But we're going to quickly give an update on all this and more, our book for the 400, and one that I loved. Like, just give me an unconventional storytelling method, and apparently I just absolutely love it. Like, which is fair. I love epistolary novels. I love anything by journal entry, and apparently a choose your own adventure book is also just something that wildly grabs me. And there is part of me that's like, is it just the novelty of this that I love so much? Because spoiler alert, I'm giving this 5 stars. I don't know. I genuinely don't know if it's because of the novelty or if the story itself was that good. I will say I really enjoyed the story. I definitely really enjoyed it, but I don't know if that's enough of a driving force for me to give it a 5-star. It might just be how much fun I had with choosing all of these wild ways that we bring our character on. And it was weird. It was very weird. Some of these life choices that we followed, wildly unrealistic and ridiculous, and made 0 sense whatsoever, but yet was so fun just to experience. And it's one of these books that like I very much at one point was just like, I am going to suspend all disbelief and we are just going to go in and appreciate it for what it is. We are not going to think too hard about how crazy some of this might sound. We're just going to enjoy. We're going to enjoy it, and we're going to accept that weird things are happening and that, some of this might seem insane, but that is part of the story. And yeah, 5 stars. It ended up being really fun too, because we also at the end were given 3 potential endings that you kind of got to choose between and choose which one you thought was the most satisfying to yourself. So you were able to like read through each one of the endings, and like you could pick an ending and be like, okay, I'm good with how this ends, or like, let's go back and see what other decision could have been made. And I did read all 3 of them because I was curious, and one of them I found way more satisfying than the others. But it was fun. I enjoyed it. I thought that this was just a very unique way of writing a story. It very easily, like I said, could have just been a linear story, but I like the fact that this different storytelling method was used. I think it really elevated what we were experiencing. So yeah, this is great. I really deeply enjoyed it. Highly would recommend. And yeah, 5 stars for me. So we're done our book in the 400s, and I think we only have 2 left, if I'm not wrong. Maybe I am. We'll see. We're going to go on to the next now. Find my way to you. Good boy. Yeah. I want to find my way to you. I'm not keeping close enough notes in front of me of what level on this period. It's not even a pyramid, on this ladder, I guess, that we are for the books. I think we're at the 500 page book. I also don't have my copy next to me, so I can't go check. I think we're at the 500s. If I'm wrong, I will correct it in editing. But the next book I decided to pick is Hollow. And this is by the authors of Zodiac Academy, Caroline Peckham and Susan Valenti? I'm probably terribly wrong at that. Zodiac Academy was a series that I enjoyed, but it was very much a train wreck for me. I hated the majority of it, but there was something about it that just kept me glued and watching, and I could not pull my eyes away. I just had to know what was going on. Like, it was trashy, terrible, I hated it, but I was also very addicted. And I've kind of been reading a lot of their newer works as well, kind of as things come out, just because I kind of want to relive that experience / remake it. They have other series I have not gotten to, but when I see a new book from them, I do get excited. And I do eventually need to go back and read their backlist because it's just a fun time, a fun trashy time. I think, I don't know, in my head I kind of think of their books as like reality TV, where it's just like, yeah, you're there for the pure entertainment and that's what you're gonna get. This one, Hollow. New world, new series, first book in this. Very recent release, if I am correct. But we are following a human girl, and she lives in this village where there's this forest that surrounds them. And it seems like every year this forest is slowly like encroaching on the livable land and swallowing people and things up into it. So there are certain things, it's a magical forest. There's like fae and stuff who exist in this world. But it seems like every year there is a child who is sacrificed to the forest to keep it happy. And every so many years, there's this great hunt that happens where a certain number of warriors go into the forest to try and complete some kind of mission to potentially stop the forest. That part I'm a little unclear on. But we are following our main character. She is just kind of like an average human girl living in her village. But many years before, her sister had been one of these children who was sacrificed to the forest. And ever since then, she has had a mind mission that she's going to go in and rescue her sister. So her plan is, when these warriors go in for the hunt, she's going to sneak in with them and find her sister. Even though it's been like 10, 15 years, and I don't know, she's probably dead by now. She's still hoping. So that happens, and then she just she gets into the forest and starts kind of joining on this great hunt adventure. I am fairly confused. I think like it started off fairly interesting to me, where I definitely was into this idea of like going into this haunted forest. I love that kind of setting. I think that that's something that is always interesting, and it has this thing of like, don't go into the forest because you'll never come out. I like that kind of thing. I do, like, it just has this creepy vibe that always kind of gets me. But I mean, maybe this isn't to the detriment either, but the story's already confused me in so many ways of kind of where it's gonna go. There's already been like multiple men who I'm like, this is gonna be the love interest, this one, and then they die. And that's happened a few times now, and I'm a little confused to see who's going to be the next one, or who it's going to be. Because I know this is a fantasy romance. I know these authors. This is like, there's going to be a romance in there. So I'm a little confused now where it's going. And I just keep getting surprised by the people it's not, I guess. So I am interested to see where that goes. It just kind of like people keep dying, and I keep getting surprised. And the hunt thing itself, very, very confused about that. I think there's like spirits, animal spirits, they have to hunt down and kill, maybe. I don't know why, but that's happening. And there's like monsters and stuff in the forest. So I'm enjoying it. I wouldn't say it's great. Wouldn't say it's fantastic or by any means, but I'm reading it. And so far enjoying it decently, so there's that at least. And yeah, this one will be our 500 pager. I finished Hollow, our 500 page book, and it was fine. Way longer than I think it should have been. That's gonna be my biggest complaint of this one. Way longer. too many pages of just like nothing happening. So it really, like, the length was to the detriment. Absolutely. It felt very meandering at some points. And yeah, just a lot of things that weren't super interesting to me, I guess. It was fine. It was fine. It was like a decent fantasy romance adventure story. I like that like haunted forest type of setting, but at the same time, it didn't do anything that grabbed my attention. There were a few things that like, it almost got there. It almost got to that point where I was like really, really interested, but didn't love the romance. The like trial kind of aspect of it, like, wow, our main character's in this like great hunt within this forest to complete a quest so that she can get her boon from the forest. It didn't really seem that interesting. I don't know. It was like, I don't want to say lazy, but it just like wasn't well designed in some ways. And yeah, the romance itself also, I didn't really feel much for it. Didn't really enjoy the male main character. Just a lot of things, like, it was fine. It was fine. It's a book I read. It's a 3-star. That's kind of all we have to say about it. Like, I mean, I feel like if you are a fan of Zodiac Academy, you'd probably enjoy it. Like, you might be like me and just pick up these authors' books just to see. But yeah, at the same time, I read it. But at least we have it done. And now we have like 2 books left, so 600 and 700 pages. I'm getting very scared to go into these. Just like, I know they are going to take me so long, and that's fine. That is fine. It's just gonna be a lot. Like, it's going to be, I'm already like, I've picked out my 600 page book, which is Valor by John Alice, and one that John Gwynne, Valor by John Gwynne, one that I'm really, really excited to read because I read book 1, loved it. I just know that this is going to take me a while to get through, so that's always a little intimidating. But yeah, I'm ready to go jump into it. At least like I know that this next book is going to be one that I'm excited for, so that helps. All right, I wanted to come in quickly and say I am now about halfway through Valor. So this is our book for the 600 page step, and it is a fantasy book, second in a series by John Gwynne. And I struggled a little bit to describe book 1, which I did really, really enjoy. I will have a video up that you can view, which I'm reading it. It's my 25 and 2025. So book 1, it's basically this, I want to say Viking. I don't know if it's right. Honestly, I don't know enough about Vikings to know if this fits in it, but this fantastical world where there's this prophecy basically saying that gods who have disappeared are going to come back, and there's going to be 2 people who fight essentially as avatars for these gods. One of them's called the Black Sun, and then I forget what the other name of it is. But this War of the Gods, it's coming. There's all these potents and signs that are shown in book 1 that, like, there are all these like things coming back, like mythical creatures coming, these different battles, the giants are back, like all of these things that add together to basically say this God of Wars, War of Gods is coming, and we're following a ton of characters. There's a few that I really, really am invested in. A few I don't really care that much. Some of them I did struggle with in book 1 to really differentiate what certain kingdoms are doing, because we're following so many, and some of them are fighting for different things. So I had a little bit of issues in that in book 1. But book 2, we are following the aftermath of basically this huge battle, this huge revelation in book 1, and a bunch of our characters are all separated and on these missions, basically. And we're following a few people who are these potential avatars. So really, really deeply enjoyed book 1 and really excited to be going into this one. I just really am having a great time with this story, and yeah, overall just doing great. I do like, there's quite a few characters who I don't care as much about. Like, there's a core few that I'm very intensely invested in their stories, and those are the ones who I'm like really, really wanting to read this book for, to be honest. The other ones are kind of whatever to me, but just these few people kind of keep me fully invested, and I'm really curious to see where their story goes. A lot of this book so far, it's just kind of traveling and setting up some stuff that I guess is going to happen in the second half. So very quickly, there we are. We're halfway through this one. I don't really want to talk too much about the general plot because it is book 2 in a series, and that can be a little difficult. But just know I am halfway through. I'm having a great time. Love this series so far. before anything else, I have a little Mooncat haul. So they came out with an Avatar The Last Airbender collection a few months ago, and I pre-ordered a few things that are finally in. So what I'm wearing first off is my cabbages, and this is like, oh my god, the most stunning like flaky green in the world. Like, I've actually been truly obsessed with this one. So I'll put more pictures up, but I love that one. Then we have Jasmine Dragon. There was like 8 polishes released. I only grabbed 4 of them. This one looks really, really cool. It's magnetic too, which I don't know if it will show up on video, but it's magnetic. I can't wait to do that one. And then I grabbed 2 of the Water Nation ones. I'm kind of upset with myself for not grabbing an air. I might need to go back and do that. But this one is Bloodbender. Or no, Spirit. Yeah, this one's Bloodbender, sorry. It's a blue and has like a really like maroon kind of shift to it with the magnetic. Cannot wait to use that one. And then Spirit Water, which is a thermal, and it goes from kind of like a grayish to like this blue. Really, really excited for all of these. I have a feeling that that's going to be like everything I want on my nails for the next little bit. And yeah, I cannot wait. Mooncat once again just like taking over my life, and I need to spend all my money on them, unfortunately. Okay, so with that, now we're gonna like very, very quickly discuss Valor, which I finished. And again, like I'm gonna quickly discuss it because a second book in a series, second book in a big series, well, not a huge series, but like chunky books. And I don't necessarily want to like give too much away, slash if there's anything to potentially be spoiled, don't want to like be involved in that. So yeah, very, very briefly, there's a war of gods. We have 2 people who are avatars for these gods, and we're kind of following their journeys and also the journeys of all these kingdoms. There is a few perspectives that I really, really prefer in this series. And yeah, I really enjoyed seeing them in this one. And aside from that, I feel like this felt more like a filler book, like significantly more, I guess, because book 2 in a series, it didn't really feel like it did as much as I wanted it to, unfortunately. Like I'm kind of just coming out of this one, like feeling like it didn't progress much further in my mind, which might be a little unfair of me to say, but with that, it just didn't really do too much for me. So I am going to give this one 3 stars. Still enjoyed it. Definitely still enjoyed it. But at the same time, I'm not really like super, super pumped about it. I don't feel like I really had anything change or anything that like drastically impacted me. It was fine. But with that, that one's our 600-page book. We're done there. I am, again, like I'm going to keep continuing on in this series. I think it was just kind of like second book syndrome for me. And I'm really, really excited still to continue this series and see where it goes. But yeah, we're done our 600-page book. So happy about that. We have 1 more to do. It's gonna be long. Hopefully won't take me too long, but I'm excited. And we're almost done. So I'm gonna go figure that one out. Okay, for our final book for this video, I have picked up The Ascendant, which it's a duology. I believe book 1 is the only one that's out so far, but I've heard really, really fantastic things about this one. And even better, it is over 700 pages, so fits perfectly for what we want it to do. This is one where we have a world. It is governed by 12 gods, and whenever a human is born in this world with magical powers or some kind of, I don't know if they call it like a spark of divinity or just like they have the gods' powers, something in them, these people must present themselves to the priests of this world, and they're basically immediately taken away from their families and brought into this like competition to see who is the strongest, who deserves this like magical abilities. And in that way, it ends up kind of being like a fight to the death. So we are following our main character. She is in her 20s, so she spent a few years hiding her magical abilities, and she has some control over the stars, something like that. But she accidentally lets her power slip, and these priests come to realize that somebody in this area must have that ability. As things happen, she ends up being identified as the one with the magic. And she also has a twin brother who, though he is powerless, he is, because he's her twin, they also take them with them to this competition, and kill their father because he is complicit in hiding them from these priests for many, many years. So that's pretty much kind of the setting where we are right now. Still learning a lot about what this world is, but there are magical powers. If you have power, you get sent to this competition, and it seems like you fight to the death, and whoever's the winner ascends to be a god, maybe? Something like that. Not 100% sure, but yeah, now our main character's in this competition, and I'm very curious. I do have to say, very, very immediately, instantly like drawn into this story, and really excited to kind of see where this one goes. Like really intensely captivating my interest. I feel like I've talked a few times recently about how I definitely am in the camp that I feel like trials have been overdone in books lately. But that being said, I'm really curious to see what these ones are. I don't know, like could be interested in this one. Maybe, I mean, we still have to see what the trials are, but I'm at least very interested in this world building and to see what kind of happens. Count me as very interested. I'm trying to think of some of what I could really say about this book, kind of as where I'm at right now, where it's still like, I feel a little hard to talk about. And at the same time, there's, well, like, the hard to talk about is probably because I don't feel like there's too much going on. Like there's obvious world building, there's new characters being introduced. We have what seems to be like a relationship between our main character and her mentor. He's being like very salty and surly towards her, but I feel like that is very much going to go into a love interest. You know, I can very much see that kind of happening. And then we're kind of starting to face the trials, which I don't know, like I feel like they aren't that interesting so far. Like the author isn't doing anything too inventive with these trials that are being created. It's just kind of like things that represent the essences of these gods who are putting them forth, if that makes sense. And they're very much like fights to the death. So there's people just dying left and right and center. Like many people are expected to not survive this contest. Which I'm still confused. I thought at first that it was only one person is able to survive this entire competition. Seems like maybe more than that, but I don't know. And yeah, there we go. That's a very broad overview of where I am. Yeah, like nothing really to say about it. I'm enjoying it. I definitely am, but I don't feel like anything noteworthy has happened or anything that we can really discuss other than just I'm enjoying it. It's interesting because when I initially finished this book, I kind of like immediately was just like, oh, I really enjoy that. I think that was such a fun read. But as I was kind of sitting here gathering my thoughts, I might have talked myself to a lower rating because I actually do have a few things that I definitely think are to the detriment of this book. So overall, like the story, I did think it was really fun. There was this like crazy cliffhanger that happened at the end and has made me really excited for the next book, which I did think this was a completed duology. I was wrong. There's also a spin-off series that I think takes place between these two books, and need to go read that right away because I desperately need to see what happens to some of these characters. But at the same time, I definitely have a lot of things that I think could have been improved. First of all, seeing as how, this was our 700-page book, it did not need to be that. This could have been so much shorter. I think there is a lot of pages with a lot of things just not happening and just a lot of pages of nothing interesting. And that really could have been addressed or cut down and improved upon a little bit. So it just ended up being, so many things, so many things said and not a lot happening at times. I kind of mentioned at one point too that I'm feeling really done with this whole trial aspect. And unfortunately, that was a huge point to this book is that there are these trials that are taking place. Fortunately, I found they got more and more interesting as they went on, and there were slightly more interesting things happening within them, but very much at the same time, I'm just not excited about trials. I'm not finding them as interesting, and I'm really wanting to be more in the central point of the book and at the central action, the central relationships, all of that. That brings us to the next one. I didn't love the main character's relationship, like the love story. I don't think it really did much for me. I really felt like it was a purely physical relationship that we are following, and there was not a lot of emotions involved, that it was just pretty much, physical yearning, and it didn't really make me super invested in it. So all of those, and just, all of that skewing together, I was originally going to give this a 4-star, and now I'm like really rethinking that. Like, I don't know if I want to go a little lower. Maybe, we could tentatively say 3.5, because I don't know if it's a 3-star. Like, I think I'm coming out at the ending so hyped and so excited that it makes me want to give it higher, but further reflection might be needed to kind of come to my concrete number. But all of that kind of said, we're done. Our final book. We are done our 700-page book, and that will make us officially done with this video, which, wow, this was a struggle. Not a struggle, but this was a mission to get through. And I'm so happy that we actually did it. We can accomplish this all. And again, so ridiculously excited that we're doing this challenge. I'm really tentatively going to say that we're going to try to do 1 video a week where we are tackling a different square of this board. I'm definitely not going to do all of them in order. That was kind of my original plan, is that we're going to go square by square, and there's no way that's going to happen. But I've started videos for some of the other prompts. I'm having fun, and I'm still really excited about this whole idea. So, if you haven't already, subscribe down below and follow me along in the journey. Yeah, we're going to see how this goes. I think it's going to be fun. I'm really feeling hopeful about it. And just based on this video alone, we had lots of good ratings, and it was just fun to challenge myself to read books in a slightly different way. So yeah, we are done here, and thank you so much for watching. Hopefully I'll see you in a video really soon, and yeah, let me know if you enjoyed this. Bye.